Okay, so we will get started today on our backs. As I mentioned, yes, I have this blanket here and some pillows that'll be supporting us throughout our practice today. And if you can't hear me, as always, just unmute yourself and yell at the screen. We'll start today on our backs, placing one hand on your belly, one hand over your heart. Feel free to bend your knees to support your low back in this position. While we're here settling into the ground, noticing if you're cranking in your shoulders, noticing where your head is facing. If you're looking behind you, starting to straighten and elongate the neck so it's almost like you're tucking your chin down a bit to find some length there in the neck. Starting to notice where your body is meeting the mat. Where your feet and your calves are against the ground, noticing the sensations of how that feels. Noticing where your glutes, your back, your upper back, and head all meet the mat. And imagining that you're able to just sink into the earth in this position. You're sinking into the ground and feeling this complete release. If you're not holding up your body, that the ground is completely supporting you, holding you, keeping you safe. And with that right hand on your belly, noticing as your inhales inflate your abdomen. And as you exhale, your belly slowly lowers back down. Noticing these movements with the natural inflow and outflow of your breath. And focusing on these sensations, the sensation of your body against the mat, the inhales and exhales. Relaxing completely. And when you're ready, slowly starting to wake yourself up from your relaxing spot on the ground. Starting to rock your head side to side. And then circling your ankles, flexing them, and then pointing them up towards the ceiling. Just finding that movement in your calves, stretching your toes, focusing on those little muscles that sometimes don't get as much attention. And then bending your knees and then tucking them into your chest. Rocking side to side. Feeling the mat against your back. Taking stock of how that feels. Noticing if your neck has cranked and starting to lengthen it again, tucking your chin down. And then with both hands on both of your knees, starting to do circles with those knees, with those hips, trying to keep your back on the mat while drawing these circles round and around, and then changing direction, doing the opposite way. And from here, stabilizing your knees, extending your left leg out in front of you, and raising your right foot up towards the ceiling. So flexing that right foot, and slowly we're going to grab our inner thigh, or behind our thigh, and slowly just pull in. And really focusing on flexing this right foot to feel that opening in your calf. So slowly pulling in, playing with the bend in your knee, noticing how straight it is or how flexed it is will change the stretch that you feel. So being gentle with yourself here. Just slowly pulling it in, feeling into that. Noticing the sensations on your calf, your foot, and your hamstring. And then we'll start to take your hands off the back of your thigh and start to actually pat the back of your thigh. So waking it up, stimulating your lymph nodes on the back of your calves here, behind your kneecap, just stimulating up and down your leg, waking it up with that blood flow coming back into your torso. And then bending the knee, dropping the right foot down, and switching legs. So taking the right leg out, extending the left leg up towards the ceiling, flexing that left foot, and feeling that stretch in the calf and the inner thigh. Clasping the hand behind the thigh and pulling in slightly. Noticing how that feels. So that slight pressure from pulling in, really adding that extra stretch here. Noticing if your neck has started to come back again, just start to tuck your chin down again, finding length in the spine. Breathing into the sensation, even though it's subtle, it may start to feel intense. The more you focus on, again, playing with the placement of how flexed or straightened your knee is. And noticing if on your exhales, you're able to slowly pull in your leg just a bit more. And as we're on the other side, now patting the back of your leg, waking up, bringing some blood flow, stimulating those lymphatic nodules along our leg. Up and down. And noticing how that feels. Do you feel any increase in energy? Being gentle with ourselves here. And then tucking both knees into the chest again and rocking side to side. Does this feel any different than the first time you did it? Just taking stock of how it feels. Finding stillness now back on your back, extending both arms out towards the side. Taking one lengthening inhale to tuck your chin down again. And as you exhale, slowly let your legs fall over towards the right. Finding this twist. Being gentle with yourself here, noticing if your upper back stays stationary on the mat. If it doesn't, that is totally okay. Just letting your body breathe here in this twist. So again, tucking your chin down, noticing if your shoulders have hiked down up by your ears, and just letting them relax. relax. Noticing if you're clenching your glutes in this position. And if you can, maybe looking over towards the left. Find that full spinal twist. Breathing into your belly as you're in this position. Letting your exhales help you relax a bit further. As we breathe deeply into our belly, and then breathe slowly out. So exhaling slowly, we help to stimulate the vagus nerve that runs up and down our body for our nervous system, connecting our brain to our gut and everywhere in between. We help to calm it down. So focusing on giving those deep belly breaths here. On your next inhale, slowly start to use your core and lifting your knees back up to center, tucking them into your chest. And from here, we'll extend our legs up towards the sky, flexing the feet. Noticing how you feel in your calves. Maybe clasping your hands behind your legs and pulling them in a bit. Again, getting that subtle stretch in your calves and hamstrings. Keeping your neck long. And then we'll start to shake our legs. So shaking and getting that energy back into our bodies. Shaking the legs here may feel a bit silly, but we're really cultivating that energy, that sense of calm to bring us into the rest of our day. And then tucking the knees back into the chest, extending both arms out to the side again, and taking an inhale into the belly, straightening that spine, taking that chin, and as you exhale, the knees fall over towards the left. Another twist to the opposite side. Again, if your shoulders are able to come off the mat, great. If not, if you're able to keep them stable on the mat, great. But really, you're focusing on releasing that spine, maybe looking over towards the right. Getting that full spinal twist here. As we put our spine in different motions, we really help to lubricate the joints. I'm sure everyone's heard the term motion is lotion for our body, so it's important that we get into situations, put our body through things that we don't normally in our everyday life, with sitting at desks a lot of the time. Taking those deep belly breaths as much as you can. Noticing if you're clenching in your glutes here and just letting that go. As you exhale, elongating them as much as you can, maybe even counting to 4 breaths out, a 4 count or a 5 count. As you exhale, to consciously elongate those breaths to help calm our nervous system down. Taking one last deep inhale through the belly, feeling it fill with air, and as you exhale slowly, letting it deflate. And as you reach the bottom of your exhale, bringing your knees back into your chest, onto your back. And again, rocking side to side. As you rock, slowly rock all the way up to a seated position. From here, we're going to meet in any seated position of your choice. And we're going to do a bit of neck care here. So focusing on releasing all the tension in our chest, our scalenes of our neck, the sides of our neck here. That's a lot of the time during the week we're looking down at a screen at this position when we want to, which kind of brings and tightens everything here. We want to open this up, open up our neck, up our scalenes. So from here, taking a deep breath to settle your hips into the mat, feeling your sit bones grounded, tucking that chin again, but imagining that there's a strain coming at the top of your head, taking the shoulders, and maybe you want to grab them and just gently place them down and away, noticing how that length between your shoulder and your neck, feeling that space between the two. And then clasping your hands together and placing them on the right side of your hip. And from here, looking over towards the right and down a bit. And here we want to be feeling this opening kind of along the front of our scalenes and the side of our neck. And here it's really important that we use our breath to calm these muscles down. So as we do this, breathing into the belly and exhaling out through the mouth slowly as we can. And as you relax, you may even need to change the position of your hands to make the stretch more intense. Because I know as I relax into these postures, it feels less like a stretch. You may want to continually play with the placement of your head and your hands to get that deep stretch. And then on your next inhale, rising the head up slowly, 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 looking back to center. And from here, we're going to unclasp the hands and just give ourselves a bit of a neck massage on the left side. So noticing those tight spots, noticing if they're any looser. You may want to even, from here, let your head fall a bit over towards the right to find a bigger opening here. If you like, taking your right hand, clasping it on the left side of your head, and just finding those tight spots in your neck, your shoulders, giving yourself a bit of a massage, a little bit of self-care here. Maybe even massaging into the face, the jaw, noticing if you're holding tension there. And then slowly letting it release, you're raising your head back at the center, clasping your hands again and placing them on the left side of your hip here. Your hands are right here. And then as you're doing the opposite side, looking over towards the left and down. This time you're wanting to find the stretch all along the front right side of your scalenes, your neck, a little bit maybe even the front of your chest. And looking down and over towards the left. Using your breath here, inhaling deep into the belly. And exhaling out through the mouth. Slowly as you can, maybe for 4 or 5 counts even. As you relax again, playing with that placement of your hands and your neck to get that deeper stretch. And when you're ready, slowly raising your head back up. And again, we're going to give ourselves that little neck massage. This time on the right hand side. Using your fingers to get in those little knots, those tight spots. And this is a time that we can really take in our restorative practice to notice all the little things. When we're doing our more intense practices, we tend to focus more on the movement rather than how we're really feeling in the moment. So taking this time in our restorative practice to really notice how our body is feeling, to notice where those tight spots are, where we need to give ourselves that extra bit of self-care, and so we're able to track back how we feel to the events in our day, perhaps the movements we've done, or the stuff we've engaged in, noticing how that affects our bodies. And for taking this time that we're able to really cultivate that self-awareness so we can take the actions to make ourselves feel better. So that's all about what yoga is all about, taking that time out, come to learn more about yourself. And as we do on the other side, maybe letting our head fall over towards the left. When you're ready, feel you're just giving yourself enough of a massage, raising your head back to center, and this is where our pillows are going to come into handy here. So I have two, you can have as many as you want, really. But in our cross-legged position, taking our pillows, placing them in front of us, and using it as, we even want to place it on your lap if that feels better for you, and then folding forward here. So folding forward, so we're getting that stretch in our back, but we're not needing to use any muscles to support us. So we're completely supported by our pillows here. So doing this in such a way that you're actually able to get your torso completely supported as you fold forward. And noticing how this feels. It can be actually a bit intense if your hips are tight here, or maybe you're feeling great and it's not tense at all. Looking down, even though your belly may be a little bit constricted by your pillows, we still want to breathe deeply into our belly. Looking down, keeping a long spine here, so not tucking your chin all the way, but noticing, just looking down, but keeping that long neck. Completely supported by our pillows here. Hands maybe resting on the ground. Noticing how this feels maybe in your glutes, your legs, as we round our back here. Breathing deeply into our belly. And when you're ready, slowly pushing yourself back up into the seated position. And we're going to take our pillows off to the side a bit. And then take ourselves into the favorite posture of all time, the child's pose. So legs wide apart, toes together. And here I actually invite you, if you'd like, to have your pillows here. So you can have your pillows on the ground in front of you to help support you as you come into your child's pose. So it really depends how much support you want here as we come into the position, but folding forward, arms coming up towards the top of the mat to open to the chest and coming into that child's pose. Breathing into the belly, into those hips. As you exhale on a count of 4, perhaps 4 or 5, feeling the tension in your hips release. Breathing deeply here. We'll be here for a few more moments. And when you're ready, pushing yourself back up into that seated position, taking your pillows off to the side, coming up into your tabletop position. From here, tucking the belly down, looking up, coming into that cow posture, and just playing with the movements of moving between your cat-cow, pulling the shoulder blades apart, and then together as you duck into your cow, and then apart as you come into your cat, tuck the chin down. Really just playing with this, maybe doing circles with your hips at the same time. Again, cultivating that body awareness as we move into these postures. And then maybe doing a counter circles. Counter whatever position you were in, and circles you were doing before. And then from here, finding stillness, tucking the toes under, and we'll come and sit back on the heels here. From here, rising up, and we're going to step just the left foot forward. So we're coming into a low lunge, but with our knee on the ground and completely supported. And here we want to focus on opening this right hip. So as we lean forward, you may want to double up on your mat so your knee is supported, like so, or you can put your pillow there. It may be a little bit unstable on that knee, so you may want to just double up on the mat, but really focusing on opening this right quad, leaning forward, engaging through your core so you're not dumping into your low back, and really leaning forward. Find that opening. You can keep your back toe tucked or flat against the mat, whatever works best for you. Maybe placing the hands on the hips, or if you'd like, you can keep your left hand on your hip and then reach your right arm up towards the sky and then bend over towards the left. So finding that extra opening in the side body here. Breathing deeply. Maybe looking up towards that right hand. And as you exhale, bring that hand down, flexing that front foot, straightening that front knee and folding forward into a half split here. And again, here we're focusing on getting that calf and that hamstring stretch. Breathing into your hips as you do this. And then with both hands grounded onto the mat, stepping your left foot back into this tabletop position. Maybe circling the hips again if you'd like, doing a bit of a cat-cow, finding that motion, and then sitting back on your heels. We'll do exactly what we did on the opposite side, so rising up, and then stepping your right foot forward, coming into your low lunge, maybe doubling up on the mat to support that left knee. And keeping your back toes in whatever position works best for you, maybe tucked or maybe flat against the mat. Whatever's going to give you a better stretch in this left quad. Placing hands on hips, or perhaps the left hand is flat. The right hand is against your hip, and you reach your left arm up towards the side, over towards the right to open to the side body as well. Looking up towards that left hand perhaps, and lowering yourself forward a bit to open through that left quad, that left thigh. Breathing deep. Noticing how this feels. Maybe one side is more tight than the other. Taking one last deep inhale to lengthen with that arm. And then as you exhale, folding forward, flexing this front foot, straightening that knee a bit, not all the way. And then folding forward, giving that hamstring and calf a good opening. Breathe deeply here. Into those hips to help open and relax. And from here, we'll step the right foot back so we come back into this tabletop position. From here, coming to sit back on our heels, and then all the way back onto our backs as we tuck our feet out underneath us. So we're going to be doing grabbing our pillows again, doing a couple different things with our pillows. And I would suggest you have two here because we want to be supporting our neck as much as possible. So we're going to be doing a bit of opening in our shoulders and our upper back. So taking your pillows, one behind the other, like so, in a way that allows you to support your neck. Then what we're going to be doing is supporting our low back as we lower all the way down. So our hips are lower than our upper back. And we extending both the arms out towards the side. And this is can be very subtle if you have a small pillow, but it's just to open through the upper back here. And if you have an extra pillow, I would even suggest that you have that underneath your head. So if you have a third pillow, you could place that underneath your head as well, so that your head is almost aligned with your back. But here we're really opening our upper back as much as possible. So again, your hips are on the mat, and then your whole back is supported by these pillows. And it can be very subtle, or it can be less subtle, depending on how you're feeling. And again, always breathing into your hips. Into that belly. And just letting yourself relax here. Noticing how it feels with your hips on the mat. You feel relaxed. Noticing if your attention is starting to wander to perhaps what's going to happen in the rest of the day, or something that's already happened, and just call it back. Call back your attention. Remembering that when we live in the moment right now, the present moment, there's no resistance to what could happen or did happen. There's just this moment. And when we take ourselves outside of that, that's when the resistance appears. And when you're ready, slowly rolling over onto your side. So maybe you need to want to bend your knees here, rolling over onto your side, raising back up. And again, we're going to be using our pillows this time to do a supported bridge. So this time, instead of having your pillows one behind each other, we're going to have them stacked on top of each other. You could use 1, 2, or 3, however many you'd like. What we're going to do is have it so just supporting your low back. So you're going to come into a bridge. If you want, you can come into the bridge first. So having your pillows off to the side, coming all the way down into your bridge, your knees bent so that your toes are just tickling your fingertips, or your fingertips are tickling your toes, your heels, and then raising yourself up, lifting your hips up, and then you can slide your pillows underneath you. So maybe you want 1 or 2. And from here, having it sort of supporting your sacral, so it's not you're supporting your kind of glutes-ish and your low back, and then lowering your hips back down. And from here, this is getting more of a lower back opening. And again, tucking the chin down. If you'd like, you can stay here in the supported bridge, which is quite subtle for some, and for others it's more intense. However, if you want, you can extend your legs out in front of you and you get more of that opening in the low back. So you can keep your knees bent or straight, whatever works for you. And what we're doing though, if we keep our knees bent, is like so. We're really supporting our pelvis here. We do so, really helping our pelvis find stability. Maybe letting your knees fall together. And again, focusing in on your breath in this moment. Noticing again if your mind has wandered, calling back your attention. Breathing into your belly. And then when you're ready, slowly lifting your hips back up, untucking your pillows. And from here, we'll come into our Shavasana. So what you may want to do in your Shavasana is keep your knees bent, or perhaps you want to extend them out in front of you. Or if you'd like, in your Shavasana, what you can do is you can grab those pillows again and come back into that heart opening restorative posture that we were in before, to open your chest if that feels good for you, or maybe you just want to come into a classic Shavasana. And I encourage you to grab your blankets if you have any. And keeping ourselves warm. It's in these practices that are low intense practices that we can sometimes get a bit cool, especially as we are not doing much movement. So I encourage you, as you come in your Shavasana, to find some warmth, to be completely relaxed. And define whatever comfortable posture is going to work for you. So maybe that's even a child's pose or a fetal position today. Just honoring that. When you're ready, slowly rocking your head side to side. Keeping the eyes closed. And then rolling over onto one side if you can. You're being supported by your pillows. Coming off the pillows and pushing yourself into that seated position. Relaxed, perhaps, now. Taking this last moment of our practice today to ground into how you feel, what your energy levels are like. You're feeling relaxed or maybe more energized. It's really up to the individual. These kind of practices can feel different for everyone. Taking a last moment to take one deep inhale through the belly, and as you exhale, slowly out through the mouth. As always, thank you for joining me today, and thank yourself for taking the time out to honor your body and mind in this practice of learning to know ourselves a bit better. I hope you have an awesome weekend, rest of the Canada Day weekend, and I'll catch you next time. Namaste.
Thanks, Deirdre.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you so much. Have a great weekend.
Thank you. Well, I'm glad you liked the restorative. That's awesome.
Thank you. Have a good weekend. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.